This week on RR, New York City Marathon recap, Athing Mu makes a big move to LA, and NCAA Championship season is here. You're watching the Running Report show on Fan Hub TF. I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Potts. Well, I'm here to give you running news produced for and by the culture. And this week, I'm here with the brother with the same mother, Aaron Potts, super hot Potts. And Aaron's just going to join me. I think we're going to do this once a month, a little bit, just relaxed, podcasty type episode where we really just talk off the dome. So Aaron, you ready for this, man?
Yo, I'm ready, man. If y'all enjoy this, tap in with us. Two black runners, y'all know the pod. Tap in.
Yeah, they already know the deal. They already know the deal. But Aaron, let's jump in. We were in New York this past weekend. We filmed a special we haven't even announced it. We spent a special, really special podcast this past week that's gonna be coming out very soon. Be on the lookout on Two Black Runners. But we also saw some amazing racing, and bro, the vibes were immaculate in New York. What were some of your biggest takeaways from the New York City Marathon this past weekend, bro?
Before we even get into the race, man, like the New York City Marathon run crew culture, that was the biggest and the most energy that I really felt. You go to mile 21, you got the We Run crew, uptown, you're in Harlem, so many black and brown faces just celebrating these runners. It was crazy. But my other biggest takeaway, I'm gonna be biased, man. Athing is back. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sharon though. Go check out that podcast we did with Sharon. We are so happy to see her win that. Man, that power couple of her and Ed is crazy. But one thing for sure, man, Athing is back. Nobody, when they thought about the Americans in the race, no one brought up the Olympic trials champion, Athing, which is, come on, man. It's ridiculous. She's not injured right now. She's the healthiest that she's been in a while. So we can't count her out. We can't count her out, and we can't forget her. The men's race was dope, but the women's race was really where it was at, bro. There's not many races where you see a battle for that long, and there was so much drama.
Aaron, I want to ask you this. Going into the race, Helen was the one everybody was looking at, the big debut marathon. Sharon steals the spotlight and wins it. And you got to brush it off, bro. That was crazy. Sharon Lokedi, that was the big story of this weekend. Kevin Chabet winning New York and Boston is insane. You feel me? Doing that in the same year. Daniel Donacinto from Brazil doing what he did, how fast he was running. Now all prayers up to the dude with dehydration, all that, wasn't able to finish the race, but the way that he was moving, he's gonna be dangerous going forward. That man's gonna fight back and come back bigger, stronger, better, everything like that. And there are a lot of other great races on the men's side, but Sharon, what she did was incredible and stole the spotlight from Helen Obiri, really. For that was supposed to be her crowning day, her coronation, a lot of people were saying, and Sharon stole it for her debut marathon.
Yeah, no one expected this was supposed to be the debut of Helen, not of Sharon. And Sharon definitely stole the show. And Stephen Haas, I've seen some videos of him at the finish, man. It has to feel so good. I feel like he's a coach that is loved a lot by a lot of different athletes. He works with a lot of different people, but I don't feel like he's gotten a big win like this in a while. So congrats to the whole Dark Sky team. I think they had dropped his shoe. They dropped their shoe. That was their first time in their super shoe, I think, too. So just a overall amazing day for Dark Sky Distance and Under Armour too.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think it's because they got Jan, bro.
You said Jan? Shout out Jan.
I think it's because they got Jan, bro. When Jan started doing the photos, something changed, bro.
It all turned around. Right, I gotta say too, though, shout out Reed Fisher, man. Reed Fisher had a great race, finishing, I believe, 10th place overall, number 2 American on the day. I feel like he had a very gritty performance and moving up kind of in his power rankings as in such as well. And as we're talking about the marathon, moving on, the 2024 Olympic trials got announced in Orlando for February 3rd, 2024. That's where the US Marathon Olympic trials will be. The qualifying standards right now are 2:18 for the full marathon for the men's side, and on the women's side is 2:37. Top 3 Americans will go and represent Paris. Aaron, any thoughts on Orlando, or do you even have like a possible way too early top 3 going for Paris 2024?
I mean, I love Orlando. We got to go there last year for the Run Industry Conference. Shout out to the homie Chris. You know, I think that's a great city. I think that's a great city to do the marathon trials. I think there's a lot of things to do. I think for the people watching, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm wondering what that heat is gonna be like though. If I had a way too early top 3. I mean, I'm not trying to diss the men, bro, but like the women's marathon is just so entertaining right now. You have so many people from Emily Sisson to Kiara D'Amato to Emma Bates to Alfie Tulamuk, Molly Sagel, Sarah Hall, Nell Rojos. Like, there's so many. Molly Huddle's gonna be coming back. Like, what is she gonna do? We can't forget about Sally Kipyego. She just made the team. Kellen Taylor will be there. So that's why it's so hard to predict who's gonna make this team. And I will never, ever, ever in my life doubt Molly Huddle. You know what I'm saying? Cannot ever doubt her.
I'm with you on that one. We got till 2024 to really decide, but some other news that came down with a really big move was Athing Mu and Brandon Miller moving to LA to go train with Bobby Kersee, go run that 800 out there training with Sidney McLaughlin in LA, bro. What'd you think of the move from the power couple, the 800-meter power couple of the US, moving to LA to be trained by Bobby Kersee?
A lot of people are going to talk about, Athing is training with Sydney right now. That's cool. A lot of people are talking about, Bobby Kersee, why is that her coach? But I think before we look at those things, we got to think about the system. Now, Bobby Kersee trained Allison Felix before. We know that Athing and Brandon both have strong faith. Sydney has strong faith. I'm sure Athing's agent is Wes Felix, who will be making sure that she's okay. So first of all, I think, it's a big move too. We got to talk about these things. This is what really makes the athletes great. You got to talk about how old is the thing? What, 21, 20?
I think she's very young. I think she's 20. She may not even be 20. She's like 19 or 20. She ain't 21.
Yeah, and Sydney's 23. Brandon is about the same age as Athing too. So I think that and Chloe is still there too. And Chloe also has a strong faith. So they're moving into a place where they're gonna have a community of people that, have that similarity that's gonna really like just be good for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For real. Like I think that's what's really most important to start off, is that I think they're gonna be in a stable place where they can grow as people. And if you're gonna be able to grow as people and be able to grow in your faith, everything will follow through with that. So I think that's to start off first. And the cherry on top though is that, you got the fastest 400-meter hurdler ever training with one of the greatest 800-meter runners of all time. And I think this is really gonna benefit Sydney a lot, because I don't think she's gonna get pushed. She's gonna get pushed in practice in a way she's never been pushed before, in my opinion. So I think that's gonna be crazy for her, and I think Bobby is gonna know exactly what to do. Yeah, I think we're gonna only continue to see her excel.
Oh yeah, she's gonna go off, and I think that was a great point, pointing out the faith aspect and everything, that strong community that gonna get, and especially we already knew like the Wes Felix connection. I think it's a match made in heaven, and something that was probably inevitable to say the least. So to make the move now, seems right, because I think as soon enough they were gonna make that move out there and just be close. And they're building an empire over there for sure. They're building like Allison already started the empire with Sage. The empire is being built up, and Sydney and Athing are the next generation of next step of what Allison already built up before then, most definitely. And as we close out the podcast, Aaron, this week, man, not the podcast, the show, as we close out, bro, NCAA regionals this weekend, following weekend, NCAA's, the championships, cross country this next weekend. just you got any thoughts going in before NCAA regionals this week? Anything that's exciting you about NCAAs you want to talk about?
Man, we always gotta talk about NAU, man. Like, how can you not talk about NAU? You know, they took a loss this year at Wisco, man, and people have been coming for their head. And this, how many in a row would this be? Well, this wouldn't be in a row. This would be,
I think this would be 4 or 5 in a row. They won 5 in the past 6 years. But bro, like honestly, NAU ain't looking good. They really not.
They not. But it's all about on the day what happens. And you know, some people, Stanford is coming. And next year they got some boys. They got some dogs that are gonna be following up and being on that team with them too. So it's gonna be real interesting to see if we're starting to see a shift or just a new challenger. But they always show up. On the women's side, we got Caitlin Tui. Been dominant all year. Dominant. You know what I'm saying? They got the strongest one too. I mean, I feel like they're gonna run away with it, but what isn't it? New Mexico is right there. New Mexico is right there. And then is Marley? Is she healthy?
I think that's going to be the big question, really, with Anna Marley Starlipper. She didn't race at conference. She didn't race at Wisconsin. I believe she raced at their first race at Joe Pine, at the Joe Pine Invite, and was able to prevail over New Mexico. Last time they raced New Mexico, they tied without Marley Starlipper. But it seems like they're saving her the best for last, you know, the last 2 races. We'll see how she is able to line up during regionals, but it's going to be interesting how that comes up. But I'm really feeling like, bro, this is Stanford's. Well, it's going to be, I don't know. I think BYU is nice, bro. BYU, Casey Klinger, I don't know. I think Casey Klinger and how he's leading that team, I think they may be better than Stanford. And it's hard to say that because I saw Stanford race at Pac-12s and they looked insane. They looked completely insane. So it's going to be super interesting. I don't really think NAU on the men's side's in the running. And it's hard for me to say that because I'm an NAU stan, to be honest. But it seems like BYU versus Stanford on the men's side and New Mexico versus NC State on the women's side. So it's going to be super interesting either way how it goes.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. And yeah, Casey Klinger, that guy remember him in high school. The dude was different, bro. You know? And he was there with Connor Mansford a little bit, learned a lot from him, I'm sure. And maybe it's his time.
I think so. I think it may be his time. And NCAA regionals is going to be a little taste of that, to see what we can possibly see the following week. And next week too, we'll be back for another running report show. Thank you guys for joining us. If you guys kind of like this little lax style, we're going to try and do this. We're going to do this once a month just to talk a little bit, give us a little bit break on the editing once a week and just talk really off the dome of the topics coming every single week. Aaron, appreciate you joining me for this week on the Running Report show, and we'll see everybody next week. Let's get it.